Hi, my dear Astro family. Today we will be speaking about the upcoming full moon. And before we actually do that, I just wanted to wish you actually happy Valentine's. And because of this love season, I've decided to make a webinar on the 19th of February at 3 p.m. Turkey, Istanbul time about Venus aspects in the birth chart. So we are in the middle of the love season, so we will be looking at the challenging aspects formed by Venus and the rest of the planets in your birth chart. Venus actually can show you and describe you what type of relationships you might attract and what challenges you will have to face in the relationship. So this in-depth webinar will be approximately about 4 hours long. And you can go on my website and sign up for it, basically, if you want to gain a little bit more clarity about love matters. And in another webinar this month, I will be looking at the differences between the 5th, 7th, and the 8th house so that we can gain really a great understanding about how our love life is put together. So we're going to be focusing quite a lot on love matters. And one of the reasons why we should do that is because this full moon is actually about love. So we're going to have to be kind of like looking at things, what we love doing, who we are, and then how we actually express ourselves. But the first thing which I wanted to mention to you today is that all planets are in direct motion for a good 2-3 months. So yes, we do still have got a little bit of a catching up to do because Venus and Mercury are still in the shadow period. Well, Mercury will be finishing it very shortly on the 24th of February. But, you know, when they are in the shadow period, it kind of still indicates that we do have got certain type of bits and bobs to catch up on. And when it comes to our communication or how we talk to our love partners or what type of information we receive from them, but it is really telling us to kind of do a little bit of a spring clean around us. And then, of course, the momentum will start building up because the planets are kind of finishing their retrograde season, so meaning that we can start a new phase in our life. Now, this full moon is going to be, by the way, happening on the 16th of February. It's going to be happening at the sign of Leo at the very tail end of it on 27:59 minutes. So what's interesting about this full moon is actually that this is the 5th out of 7 full moon, which are happening on 27 degree. So we've been having this 27 degree of the chart being impacted very significantly in the last 1 year. And if we really start thinking about what is 27 degree to start with, it's always a challenging degree. On one hand, because by Egyptian terms, the last few degrees of the signs always ruled by Mars or Saturn. So therefore, it is talking to us about some type of challenges we have to overcome. And this is going to be similar with this Leo full moon as well, which is the challenge is why we are not expressing ourselves the way we want to appear in front of others. So as I said, this is the 5th full moon, which is happening on 27 degree. There will be 2 more in the near future. And number 27 is all about endings. It's all about, because when we add them up, it's about the number 9, which is about spirituality, letting go of something, the endings. The 27 is about a love for and interest in the well-being of the humanity. It's something to do with diplomacy. It's about wisdom. There is kind of like this Piscean energy around it. It's about being non-judgmental, being compassionate towards something, kind of like the tolerance of other people and their belief system. And this full moon really kind of integrates this. Because when we are talking about Leo full moon, it means that the opposite energy is Aquarius, where the sun is. So a full moon always happens when the sun and the moon are in opposite signs. So, and then of course, when we start comparing what Leo and Aquarius are all about, then we will be realizing that actually they are very different energies. Leo is warm and loving. Aquarius is cool and detached. Leo wants to be flattered. It kind of wants mutual admiration. Leo does invest loads of time into others. They give them affection because they want to receive something back in return. And Aquarius is not really concerned about the ego needs. Actually, it likes deflating the ego a little bit. Leo is about self-love. Aquarius is about love for humanity. You know, Leo is about, you like me the way I am, you know, I'm trying to be good. And Aquarius is about, you know what, I don't really care whether you love me or not. Actually, they do care, but they kind of tend to be pulling up this wall in front of them, kind of like having this non-care attitude so that they don't get hurt. Aquarius is very afraid of being rejected by others. So therefore, what they do is they become eccentric. And it's, however, Leo is going to be about individuality. I want to be shining on a stage. I want everyone to pay attention to me, to understand me, to admire me, to kind of lay down the red carpet right in front of me so I can walk that through. However, Aquarius is, it's very eccentric, but not just because of the individuality, but kind of like they have got this group energy going on, that we are going to be stronger together than alone. And typically they want to be a part, of a group, because this is the way how you kind of, you know that you are accepted. So kind of like-minded people getting together. Leo is about pride, and Aquarius is quite humble actually. Leo wants approval. Aquarius actually all about standing up against any type of discrimination, really. It doesn't care about approval. Actually, it kind of triggers not to be approved in a sense. So there is kind of like this egocentric type of energy where we also need to liberate ourselves, detaching ourselves from that egocentric type of behavior, and having a harmonious relationship between these two, knowing how far I can go with the group, but I'm allowing myself also to shine on my own as well. So one of the examples I would kind of mention here is that, you know, imagine that you want to be a solo singer, but the Aquarius full moon would say, or the Aquarius Leo full moon kind of would be saying to us that, you know what, you might need to be starting in a group. And then after a while, once you have an established name or reputation, then you can actually come out of that group and then you can start your solo career. So, because at the end of the day, the Leo full moon is going to be very much about learning about your self-esteem. You need to be validated by others and you need people around you. It's about being playful. It's an attention-seeking sign. It's about focusing on the creativity. It has the desire to be in the limelight, to be in a leadership position. It's about everyone to love them to a certain extent, everyone to flatter them. So it's all about pride. And Aquarius is going to be about revelation, enlightenment, the need for awakening. It's kind of like an illumination. So altogether, these are all about coming to terms of how much I need to be truly myself, but how much I need other people to be involved in the process in the meantime. Now, we do have got loads of fixed energy going on actually in the full moon chart. And the fixed energy sometimes can be very good, and sometimes it can go a little bit rocky also, because the fixed energy is about getting things done, right? It's about being grounded, being stubborn. It's about reality, really. It has got the kind of like the courage to carry something forward. But the fixed signs also tend to keep on things way too long. They are a little bit resistant to change because they are always about the tested ways, really. of course, it's a manifestation type of energy. So it's very useful. It always wants to get somewhere. But sometimes we are reminded that we are not going to be getting everything what we want. So sometimes we're going to have to let things go as well for the greater good. And this is also something this full moon really wants to be actually reminding us of. Now, looking at the full moon chart, as you can see on the screen, it looks like a bucket chart. So we've got all the planets kind of crumbling up in one place of the chart. And of course, we've got the moon on the other side. So there is so much kind of emphasis going on in that moon. Moon became the handle of the bucket. So it's kind of like we're going to have to look at, okay, what does a moon actually indicate? Because indicate in the sign of Leo, because that is really talking about somehow what we are meant to be doing if we actually want to be able to handle this period of time. And Moon in Leo is the second manifestation of the fire sign. So it's about forwardness, intensity, it's about being direct. It's kind of like the king or the queen of the jungle. It's about embodying your charisma, your generosity. It's about the ability to show how to celebrate the self. It's about being over the top sometimes. Moon doesn't like being revealed this way, and that's where the challenges are. Or at least the moon kind of needs to be thinking about ways to reveal the inner lion within themselves, because a moon is a reserved planet. It wants to kind of be in the shadow. So it does talk about the fear of rejection. It does talk about that I'm meant to be somehow putting my mood on a central stage. It's about realizing the king of the beast. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are arrogant. However, it can also indicate that. It's about having a little bit of a bigger than life lifestyle in a sense. You are reminded that, you know, you have to celebrate yourself. You have to celebrate your achievements. And sometimes I'm going to do that on my own. And sometimes I'm going to kind of do that with a group of people. So it's very much about how to receive compliments, how to receive the admiration from others. Think about the Leo moon as in like a catwalk. Right? So what does a cat do? It's purring, it's, you know, it follows, it's, you know, it only wants to be stroked when they want to. So it's about looking at other people's needs as well at the same time. But this full moon is very much bringing your attention to having fun, remembering that you've got all the star quality you need. It's about having fun, being entertained, and it's about expressing the authentic self the way you want to. So probably if you can go on a holiday, really. So as I said, the challenge with all these type of fixed energies is that they don't really like to change. So they need to learn to adapt sometimes. Now, by the way, the bucket charts are always about the meaning to life, searching the meaning to life. And sometimes the bucket people tend to be a little bit lost. They don't know where they are heading. So I think this whole energy of the chart is really talking about being super focused on one particular way of doing things or one particular area of your life. And then now it is telling you to kind of get out of that. So sometimes this chart shape can be a little bit obsessive. And this obsession can also be seen from the fact that the moon has got an inconjunction going on towards Pluto, which I'm going to be talking about in a second anyway. So, you know, the questions which these might be bringing up for you is that in what ways am I obsessed to certain type of things? An inconjunction on another way, quincunx is all about, it's a 150 degree aspect. It's about redirecting the energies. And typically it is about uncomfortability. The quincunx is kind of like the feeling of discomfort. We don't really know how to integrate the two planets because there is nothing in common between the two signs they are actually residing in. So it is somehow a little bit of an uncomfortability. And probably this full moon is very much bringing your attention to why I am feeling uncomfortable about expressing myself the way I want to. Is that because I've got some psychological scrutiny going on when it comes to myself? Because Pluto is all about scrutiny. Is it something to do with your inner fears? Is it something because I've put on some weight and that I don't want to go back to reality, in a sense that I'm going to be socializing because people are going to see how fat I've become? So it's about shedding some light onto some of the taboos, on the deep psychology, the death, the crime within us. And remember that the full moon is always about shining the light on an opportunity, and having a strong quincunx to Pluto is shining the light on the need of expressing your real problems. In what ways did you become a victim? Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Are you somehow supporting the role as a victim? Do you feel that you are a magnet to disaster? Do you somehow feel that your body is not the greatest? You know, in what ways do you lie to yourself? And in what ways have you been betrayed? And it all needs to somehow, in what ways are you a hostage of a situation? And these are the things especially which you're going to have to kind of bring on a central stage and kind of talk about it. That's going to be very, very important with this. I think the Moon and Pluto in conjunction is very much about the tendency where the mind is kind of wanting to stay in the shadow. And then it's kind of like something which is popping out constantly. So it's kind of like something to do with your fear. And now you have to become aware of that. I think this could actually indicate somehow panic attacks also. No wonder, because Pluto is also conjuncting a asteroid called Pan, which is actually talking about panics. So anyway, it's very possible that plenty of people will feel somehow kind of like a stage fright or panic attacks. There is some warrior type of zone going on in the sky by Pallas Athene being now in the sign of Aries after 11 months of being in the sign of Pisces. You know, and then we've got this Mars and Venus conjunction going on also, which I'm going to be talking about very shortly. And so another thing which I'd like to mention here, that this full moon is very much about thinking about what your inner child wants. In one way, you're going to have to be somehow playful in life. You're going to have to learn to loosen up a little bit. You're going to have to kind of become a little bit more confident about yourself. And the Pluto moon is really shining the light on your insecurities, why you are not actually confident about who you are. It's about something you need to give more attention to, or it's about learning to be a little bit more selfish and then getting the attention from others. So how comfortable are you of getting attention from others? How much are you trying to stay somehow in your comfort zone, in a sense that, you know what, I'm pushing away any type of popularity? And maybe it's, or maybe you want to kind of draw in other people overall in a very unhealthy way. So there is something to do with your heart desire, which kind of wants you to awaken for that, really. So, you know, we're talking about the lions. What does a lion do? It's roaring. So this full moon is very much demanding us to be courageous about putting ourselves or our work or our relationship or our passion in the spotlight, depending on where these planetary alignments are in your natal chart. So one way I would like you to look at it is that because this is happening on 27 degree of Leo, so the most affected zodiacal signs will be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And you might want to be looking at if you have got any planet around 25 to 29 degree of these signs. So for example, you might be having Venus in the sign of Aquarius on 27 degree. So there is an element of revelation you can experience around your Venusian topics. You might want to be looking at what Venus rules in your chart, but also the essential meaning of Venus also, which is about love, which is about how I get along with others, how I relate to others, and so forth. So this lunation is about kind of like a performance review in a sense, reviewing the quality of your performance in life. It's about kind of sitting in the driving seat of the car and then not necessarily giving that away to others. That's going to be very important here. I also believe that this is very much about you know, we're talking about a opposition energy, and the opposition is always about the illusion of mutual exclusivity. You know, what usually the problem with oppositions are that they think about either or rather than thinking about both and. So what I mean by that is that either we follow the Aquarius side or we follow the Leo side. However, we should be following both somehow. So any type of oppositions is kind of like relationship issues, which is always an Aries Libra type of metal. And how interesting that at the same time we have got the Venus-Mars conjunction also going on. So very, very interesting. Maybe this full moon is somehow shedding light on your pride and in what ways you were humiliated, but also what are you attached to, which you need to kind of liberate yourself from. Why are you afraid that you are losing the self? And maybe you are afraid of being a part of a collective type of energy. It's about being original. It's about being eccentric. And then, no, kind of like another example which comes to my mind is that imagine that an emo guy is singing opera. Well, that's somehow not going to work out. The two styles are clashing. But how can I make it work? So we're going to have to find a way to actually collaborate those two unintegrated part of the self. So nowadays, probably your mood can be a little bit unpredictable. It's about watch out for popularity because you can become popular for the wrong reasons also. Your confidence, your self-esteem can even turn into arrogance. But probably there is a defense mechanism going on. I become arrogant because I'm afraid of being rejected. And that's the Pluto moon in conjunction, which is really much talking about this. So there is some disengagement going on in this chart at the moment, which we might be having the tendency to kind of emotionally distance ourselves from it. Now, obviously, the full moons are always about drama, especially in the sign of Leo. So expect some peak of feelings, some intense feelings, some heightened emotions. It's kind of like blowing up something out of the ballpark, really. We might start having a lot louder conversations with others. We might actually, you know, make things look a lot bigger or more important than they are. So definitely, you know, and we always have to be looking at the dispositor of the full moon as well, and that's the sun this time around. So sun is in the sign of Aquarius. So maybe what it is talking about is that we have been focusing on the Aquarius house cusp for a while. Maybe it's about your friends, maybe it's about your long-term goals, maybe it's about the future, but you forget to celebrate the little details in life. So you're going to have to go back to the basics in a sense. Maybe you have been working on an opposite topics, what you are meant to be focusing on. And you're going to have to kind of make certain type of tweaks in it. So I think this full moon is really bringing your attention to the qualities of whatever you are working on or whatever you are involved with. And it wants you to be playful, creative, listen to your heart overall. So as I said, the reason why it's very interesting this time around, to have a full moon, because we also have got the Venus and Mars conjunction going on at the same time. Now, I know they are not in aspect of with the full moon, but, you know, at the end of the day, we have got another very important aspect going on, which is this full moon is bang on squaring the nodes. Now, let me just talk about that for a second, because a square to the nodes from the sun kind of indicates that we are halfway through the eclipse season. So we are coming up to it, right? So I'm expecting something around the 16th of February to happen in the world, because the sun will be squaring the nodes, and Venus and Mars are going to be having a conjunction at the very same time with the full moon. And Venus and Mars are the ruler of the nodal axis. So it's kind of like the past is catching up to the present, and which is creating a future. And Venus and Mars are together very much about, you know, kind of like the war and the peace type of energy together. So I'm expecting some very radiant energies. And, you know, I cannot stop thinking about what the situation is at the moment in the world between Russia and Ukraine. So unfortunately, I kind of believe that, you know, that might go ahead, unfortunately. So it's something which can feel quite big, quite important, some type of crisis which can be actually getting highlighted for you, in a sense. There is kind of like a mind game, a power struggle going on in our mind. So whatever that is going to kind of mount out of this situation is, you know, it can actually be big, unfortunately. So there is a huge need to be a little bit more understanding towards others, but also not losing the self in the meantime. Now, the Venus-Mars conjunction is one of the reasons why it's very interesting, is because Mars is catching up to Venus, which rarely happens. Venus is usually the faster moving planet. This time around, Mars is actually faster. So, and Mars is in exaltation. Venus also has got a little bit of a dignity going on here, by the way, but still, you know, Mars is a lot stronger. So what I really feel about this conjunction is that, firstly, this is the second conjunction out of 3. There is going to be one more on 0 degree of Aquarius, which is going to be triggering the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction back in 2020 December. So some political matters are going to blow out of the ballpark. I'm very certain about that. It's going to be somehow the peak of the union between some type of conversations people are going to be having about certain things. It's political matters because it's happening in the sign of Capricorn, surely. So, but on a personal level, Venus and Mars together is about embodying the feminine and the masculine energies. It's kind of like giving you an opportunity to actually meet someone. And the full moon is really highlighting your dating type of energies. So this is a great day to actually meet someone. There is a need. What happens is that Venus kind of cools down Mars a little bit, and Mars wants to fire Venus up. So it kind of awakens the passion within Venus. So therefore, it becomes a little bit more promiscuous, which could actually indicate that we are full of desire of, you know, having great sexual encounterments in our life. But it can also talk about the desire to show others how we feel, the desire to actually get something going. But this aspect is also very good to do sport activities with our loved ones, or great for some type of love communication, really. It could be about fulfilling your desires. It could be about falling in love. It could be talking about the need to become a little bit more tender, careful, loving, as well as a little bit spicing up your sex life a little bit more, because this is the aspect of increased sexual energies. So, but I think I'm going to be making a separate video about the Venus and Mars conjunction, because there is loads to actually mention about it. So guys, I hope this video actually helps you to actually explore the meaning of this full moon a little bit more. So do let me know where it falls in your chart, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the webinar in regards to Venus as well. So see you soon. Bye-bye.